while Falcons, Twisted Minds, and Loud fell over to Lion, who forgot to even use their hands in League. But they did secure over 100 kills to get to the final. They want me to yell booyah here, but I'm afraid that if I do, I'm gonna start crying. Finally, in Dota. Wait, didn't we already cover the... No, that was a different game. I haven't been following closely since my Rune Eaters were eliminated by eventual champion P-Vision. They were heavy underdogs who made a splash before our hearts were ripped out, just like with KC. Just like every time. Now that we've cheered and laughed and cried together, I only have one more thing to ask. KC fans, can you please stop camping outside of my hotel? I said that I was sorry about all the French jokes. Someone threw a hardened baguette through my window and it hit me in the forehead. I even got hate mail engraved on a croissant. Okay? Please stop. S'il vous plaît. Please. This is Cadrill's fault.
Day one of PUBG at EWC 26 brought a ton of surprises. Twisted Minds, with Lou missing and the Tab having to step in, secured a chicken dinner along with a second and third place, sending them towards the top of the table unexpectedly. Shadow Esports, one of the tournament's underdogs, holding on to a compound, took a win in game number 3. And Team Liquid consistently put points on the board. But there were some things that were not so surprising, such as Myth continuing their great run of form, looking unstoppable to top the table after day number 1. Now, Group C gets to join in on the action as they take on the teams from Group A. The like of 17 Gaming, Team Falcons, and Na'Vi have been watching from the sidelines and are ready to get the competition well underway. They take what they've learned from watching day number 1 and use it to their advantage? Or will the Group A teams off the back of day number 1 be warmed up and have the upper hand? It's time to find out as Group A faces off against Group C with their tournament lives on the...
James, I brought you here to find out what it takes to be a PUBG professional.
Well, I'll have you know, Barney. I've got a trick or two up my sleeve. Let me show you how it's done.
Yeah, of course, us having zero experiences, not because they were our champions of last year, but because they're playing with the coach. The Tab did amazing yesterday. We heard it in the interview with Batulins as well. He said, no, we're just so happy we're able to perform just a little bit. They got a win, they got a place, they got a third. They were the top fraggers of yesterday. We saw example popping off, so that was amazing.
Always great to see. And a smiling Batulins is a terrifying thing to see because you just never know what's going to be coming next. But I mean, you were talking about it before we jumped into this. Myth, man. Myth was stellar yesterday.
Yeah, 79 points, 3 wins out of the 6 on the day. Kiss top fracking with 18 kills. They're continuing the form that we've seen from them throughout the internationals this year here. I'm super excited to see what they're going to be able to do in the finals because with 79 points, they are guaranteed to go there already.
Kiss of death to the rest of the lobby right now, but Gam also had a very, I guess, consistent day yesterday, and that's kind of notable given that squad because a lot of times they can be pretty inconsistent. We'll see them kind of go for some crashes, put themselves in some very vulnerable situations, but they managed to fight out of a lot of them yesterday.
Yeah, once Tanwu's on fire, we know him throughout the years, he will get everything cooking, right? And he got all the kills yesterday. They're able to perform. They're able to be in, that 45 to 50 points plus, right? But the most crazy thing of today is the top 4 is not playing. They're all in Group B. Everything is going to be open for play today.
And that is big. Whenever we look at some of the pace setting that was coming in, Team Liquid started off the day very, very strong, managed to keep up a decent point total through the entirety of the day. Love to see that because this is a squad that's had expectations galore on their shoulders for so long. But the squad that kind of caught me off guard was Shadow. I mean, I love Setsuna as a player, but I had some expectations, but not that level of expectation.
Yeah, them being able to come in today with just, 25, 30 points total, they would be straight in the final. It's a huge surprise and a huge thing. Of course, we got 6 more games to play of PUBG Battlegrounds on the Qiddiya City grid, so that's going to be amazing to get things kicked off.
Everything's going to be changing up today. New opportunities for a ton of squads that are going to be joining the mix, and I know there are a lot of fan favorites, most notably Falcons, who's done great at EWC time and time again. But we've got to dive into the action right now. Let's go ahead and throw it back over to 7 and see what's going to be happening next.
Thank you, Avenger and Matt Rim, for that breakdown of what happened in day 1. As we switch now here towards day 2, I'm pretty sure we'll get a chance to see the overall as well from all those great performances that we saw in day 1. And coming into day 2, honestly, with Group C coming in, one team that we saw do quite great yesterday, Shadow Esports, they're going to have a hard time today.
I mean, I just am going to go ahead and say it. Like I said it yesterday, this may be the worst day of their professional career in terms of like how it feels because they did so well yesterday. And I think they're going to have a rude awakening to what happens when you don't have your drops.
I want to just be like, no, you know what? They're just going to power through and make it happen. But they're dealing with 17. They're dealing with a whole different lobby coming in. That's rotations. That's where they're going to lose, right? There's all the cutoff points. And I just think it's going to be really rough for them. Granted, I'd love to be surprised. And you and I would love to be wrong. It's just we've seen this type of thing before. So we have to wish them good luck. But it's going to be a tough day for Shadow.
Yeah, being in 5th place, getting 35 points. As we're talking about this squad, I want to know what would be considered a good day for this squad in regards to points. They were able to get 35 points yesterday.
I mean, a good day for them is holding on to the top 16, right? Like, it doesn't even, at the end of the day, what they're going to come in to do, I assume, is play defensive. Their goal is going to be to drop without losing, make it to circle 4 or 5, push center, and try to shore up their position and get as many points as they can. But it's not going to be an aggressive day of play for them at all.
No, not at all. And I think 17 is really going to thwart them there. But, I mean, when you look at the leaderboard, Gam, a.k.a. the Expendables, man, they came out swinging, and they're currently in 3rd place, 50 points, not the most. When you look at last year's cutoff, right, we're talking around 63 points. And that's the most important thing is you're not playing for first year, you're playing for top 16. And so if they can get even just 15, 20 more points on the day, they're looking pretty good for that cutoff.
Here's the message for today, right? If you watch the World Cup, you saw a certain team from across the pond maybe pull their strikers a little bit early, maybe get a little defensive. And there's a temptation for that when it comes to these world level events. You can't do that. You can't do that. We learned that watching England. We're going to learn that today for those teams that play defensive. You got to play your game and you got to get aggressive. So Gam, I need them to keep coming full steam instead of trying to shore it up and say, just save my points.
And I hope it happens too, because for some of those squads, I mean, you perform so well, don't change anything. I know sometimes squads tend to, if they perform that well, for example, the likes of Myth, right? They want to maybe take a chance to try something different. Myth might be a little bit different because they're so far ahead. And you know what? Since we're talking about Myth, let's talk about our Sony story of the day, because it is Myth. The way that this team was able to perform yesterday, we said it already. Avenger and Matt Rim said it as well. 3 wins out of 6. Nobody expected that. we didn't expect for them to continue on the momentum that they have from PGS 6, but it was also the performances of the players.
Yeah, I mean, let's compare that to what it's like to play this game normally, right? What's your win rate? It's not 50%, I'll tell you that, and it's not against the best players in the world. Individual performance were phenomenal. Jacob looked good, right? We talk about Kiss, but Baron and Scrappy were really putting work in there. Scrappy was scrappy. He was surviving when he needed to. I liked watching those guys.
I feel like Scrappy was, I don't want to say saving them because they didn't really need to be saved, but in those games where they definitely didn't get as many points as they wanted to, Scrappy was there scrounging for those points, right? And he was able to get a couple kills here, keep them alive, maybe a few more placements, and that's really important. And on top of that, the amount of confidence that these boys have built just in that first day, as Martin said, they've already qualified, as far as I'm concerned, for finals. I mean, these, man, just think about the wrench that they can throw in the other kind of gears to try to slow them down, because the ball's in their court. They can literally do whatever they want today.
They got the 3 C's of PUBG: communication,
I'm casting. I'm just kidding. I won't bleed your ears with that. But obviously, laser paper thin. We are going to do a little bit of a prediction.
Ooh.
Okay. So you guys at home can, of course, place your predictions. Head to the esportsworldcup.com and you can go to Pick'ems. Okay. Now you can actually place 5 different squads in your top ones for each group stages. So obviously we have Group A and Group C. Now, Paper, I want you to pick 5 squads that you think in today's groups that you would put in your pick'ems.
That's good. I like that. I think I'd be leaning towards teams from Group A that need to have a bounce back day, like maybe Virtus Pro, who's kind of hovering on that point threshold where if they have a similar day, they might be there, maybe not.
Maybe they'll just put the coach back in.
There you go. Yeah. let's just get another coach in. Visa, come play. And then I really think that Petrichor Road might bounce back. They're PGS winners earlier this year, so I think they're one of the ones I'm going to have for a big day. Then I'm going to look at Group C that's coming in here today. And I'm going to go a little bit regional bias for myself, T1. I think T1's going to have a big day today. Big fan of them. I'd like to see Gen G bounce back from a rough year.
Thank you.
Not convinced just yet. 17 gaming. Another team that I think is always ultra consistent and is a good shout.
Yes, honestly, I wanted to chuck Gen G in there too as well. Obviously, the T1 banter. But you guys at home can, of course, do your own pick'ems on the Esports World Cup website. Make sure you place them on them. And I'm going to also put the Falcons in there too.
Everybody's like, what? No Falcons? No, I can't believe you've done this.
But that's it from us. Back over to you, Seven.
Thank you, Lays and Paper thing. All right, so I hear you guys' predictions. By the way, I just want to verify for everybody watching at home. Made in Thailand, Myth is currently going to be sitting out because they are in Group B. Same is going to be with Twisted Minds. So with that in mind, I'm going to actually be picking some teams. You guys can start thinking about some teams that you want to pick as we're doing the predictions thing. For today, to be able to perform well, we're not picking who's going to be winning the first game. Okay, we're not doing that again, even though you guys were able to freaking nail it yesterday with Myth. But for today, I have to go with what I said earlier. I'm expecting Falcons to actually have a great day.
Yeah, I think Navi is going to step up, and I think they'll probably be up there in the top 5 battling for it by the end of the day.
It's just hard for me to not pick Navi as well. They've been so consistent. I think their PGS circuit one, I think week 2 was whatever they just dominated, right? Yep. They've been fairly consistent all year. So they're definitely a team that's hard not to root against. But you know what? Because Virtus Pro is still in there, man, I have to root for them as well. They showed us in the first game why they're so good and why we love this team so much. Yeah, they kind of slipped a bit, but they did make a bit of a comeback as well. So I think VP is definitely also a team to watch out for today in Group A, especially because it's their last day of play.
I think the key is that the top 4 teams aren't in the lobby, right? So that means that it does blow open this entire chance to come in today and say, we're going to play super violent. And then we get to face those guys tomorrow, but we get to all kind of guarantee a top 8 by the end of the day today. So I do think that sort of changes the way that map is going to operate. And I think the beneficiaries of that is 17. The fact that they get to play out of the middle basically all day today with that sort of up in the air with the top 4 not here will actually benefit their rotations and give them a little bit of an easier day.
Yeah, for those Groups A squads, I mean, for the teams that are in Group A, once again, I just want to go back to those teams that were able to underperform, that just didn't perform to how we were expecting them to. With AGAL, that's a squad that is currently in the club championship. They're sitting towards the bottom, as we saw yesterday with 23 points. I mean, if they're able to get anywhere near those 60, 65 points that we're guessing might end up being the cutoff for top 16, that will be amazing. But if they're not able to, if they even start off hot, one of the things that we need to start looking out for is just the pressure is going to start getting to them because we have seen it in the past.
I mean, I think my staple here is if you're looking for an indicator, how does Himas do in game 1, right? Like, does he come out and start putting frags? Is he solo, leaving his team behind? If he's going off on his own, they may fall apart. But if he has a good game 1, I think they have a shot at making some big numbers.
Yeah, I mean, they're just not the only team that I'm seeing down here, though. Like Supers, what about them? True. You know, Petrichor, they have no business being this low on the leaderboard. So I'm also, it's a rough day, but it's also their last day, which is the most important thing. So this could be the end of EWC for quite a few teams.
That's the beautiful thing. I don't think we won't end up crushing any keys today. The crushing of the keys will happen tomorrow. We'll figure out which top 16 teams will end up going to the finals. I'm expecting for today to be as aggressive as we saw yesterday. And I think it's time to see if that is actually going to be the case here for today. Group A versus Group C starts right now.
16 teams took to the stage yesterday and made their mark. And today, 8 more teams will have a chance to make a first impression on the Gadia City grid.
In day one, we got some insane performance coming from Mist, Twisted Minds, Team Liquids, and GAM Esports. But today, there is new faces on the battlefield.
It is time for these teams to show the world exactly why they are here. The journey to this point has been relentless, but now it is time for them to show up once again.
Barney, everything is set, and it's now time to welcome our team to the main stage, starting with 17 Gaming.
Navi!
Petrico Road!
T1!
DN Supers!
Tai Lu!
Pool Sense!
Gen G Esports!
JD Gaming!
The Vicious Esports!
Shadow Esports!
Sharper Esports!
AGL!
Virtus Pro!
Team Vitality!
And finally, your reigning club champions, Team Falcons! Every point earned today could be the difference between fighting for the championship or sitting on the sidelines. So get ready for fireworks and mortars.
For the players who already hit the stage yesterday, these are the final 6 games. After this, their fate is no longer in their own hands. It is time for day 2 of PUBG at EWC here in Paris.
针对这一次 EWC， 我们准备的还是很充足的，然后我们也对我们的实力还是很有信心的。
In general, we don't have an issue with anyone, but probably AL just because of the chaotic playstyle in the early game.
We're playing so many practice before EWC, and we're ready.
Our biggest rival is maybe VP. VP is a very strong team, and they really work hard.
Probably say 17. They've been the most consistent team. Navi's also been very good, but I don't know. Just as ourselves, you know, how well we play.
其实小组赛我们没有什么怕的对手吧，然后因为我们的整体实力其实也不差，然后也都是老对手了，然后他们的整体风格我们也都知道。针对这次 EWC， 我们准备的还是很充足的。
I don't want to not fight anybody. I want to fight everybody. We're going to win.
we are a really strong team, and I am confident, and we can make to the final, and we can win this tournament.
Hello, hello, PUBG fans, as it is time to get groups A and C underway. Matchroom Paperthin going to be taking you through the first couple of games as, yes, guys, Falcons are here. I know chat's been going crazy for them, waiting all day yesterday, but now finally arriving and confident on top of that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that team is always going to be confident. You feel like they have a shot going into every event. We're always going to be talking about them because of their history and their success that they've been able to find. So definitely a team to keep your eyes out for sure. I think a lot of teams in Group A that I really have some big questions about, you know, VP, the Supers, who we just saw in that video, talking about how they feel pretty confident to win this thing. They did not have a good day. They need to do a lot better.
I mean, with VP, the question marks aren't as big. It's more just like, you're better than that. I was expecting it to be a little bit higher. You could see that there was a little bit of dishevelment that was happening within the squad, but I think that they still should be all right. But this is also a much harder lobby than yesterday, in my opinion, specifically. But I know there's some differences on that one way or the other. Supers, though, I just got to ask, bro, what's going on?
I just, to me, when I'm looking at them, I don't feel like they're confident to take fights. I think in this meta in particular, yes, it's very, early center circle heavy. Like, you're trying to play for kind of the hedging your bets against the chaotic circles in that regard. That's why I think a lot of teams are kind of going for that. But they often weren't looking for those third-party opportunities, weren't looking for kills. And this is something I mentioned on the broadcast yesterday, that when you look at how they've done in PGS this year, they're one of the few teams that they do like way better in placement points than kill points, and that is a rarity and a something that you just can't be doing in this game right now.
The mind-boggling one for me, hands down, mind absolutely boggled by AGAL. First game, 14th, 0 kills. Second game, 14th, 3 kills. Third game, 9th with 0 kills. Finally, we got a second place with 11 kills, and I thought maybe they were coming alive, but then no, it goes back to 12th, 0 kills, 13th, 3 kills. I know that we can talk about that there's some inconsistency in that squad, but what is going on? That squad should be able to find kills, no problem.
I agree. I mean, it felt like, outside of that game where it came down to that, the situation was them versus Myth in the very end of the game, right? Came down to a tight circle, but that one's harder for me to put my finger on because you don't get to see a lot of them because they were getting knocked out of the game so early.
Yeah.
So we weren't kind of focusing on them as a whole. So what you did see was them hemorrhaging players in the kill feed early, whether it be like Delwyn or Hemas. I saw them going down, first, 10 minutes multiple times, and that can't be happening.
Okay, enough questions. We've got the airplane taken off, and we are ready to go. It is going to be way down to the south. Plane path starting south of Novo and kind of ending to the west of Gatka. So this is going to be pretty crazy here. Don't forget, now we're adding in some heavy hitters of 17 Gaming. I mean, we've got, of course, Falcons and the big question marks with Na'Vi, and how crazy do they go in a group stage?
Oh, for sure. Na'Vi, a team that you absolutely are expecting to do damage here. I mean, especially with what you saw from Twisted Minds yesterday, and, VP still did okay. I mean, yes, it isn't up to the standards that maybe we've come to expect for VP, but you expect Na'Vi here to be just as good as those other two teams. So certainly should be a pretty solid day for them. I of course, am going to talk about Gen G because they've been struggling a lot this year. You would think bringing in Soul and Salute, that dynamic duo from the 2003 PGC championship team that were absolutely going crazy for them, hasn't really worked out. And bringing D from, the Americas over to the team as well, who looked really solid last year. Everything just hasn't come together.
I was a little bit sold on the idea of the squad. D coming into it, I thought was kind of interesting. But we just haven't seen anything cement in. And you're right. This is a squad that really you think that you could just kind of put Salute on one side of a circle and Solo on the other, and they just kind of meet in the middle and find themselves a victory at some point. But it's just not really been happening as we got long stretches coming up from JDG going up to Georgia Pole. It is also going to be set soon in the boys just to the south of them. But Sharper gets the lion's share up the circle that is mostly fields.
Yeah, this one, we had a circle that ended kind of in those fields that are southwest of Pachinki, so still could end up in that vicinity or a field somewhere along the way. That is the large percentage of this part of the map. But again, new circles means we have a lot of different ways that this can shake out at this event. Spyro just going to be doing a little bit of chilling. Na'Vi going for that west of farm split. And they have quite a bit of access to things. Now, Salute right next to Salalzi here. He's going to try to pit maneuver him. Is there anything to follow this up?
I don't know if anybody's even got any guns yet. Finally, a couple of shots going to come out, and there it is. Himas down. Looks like he should be flushed in just a second. And anyone's legend, just anyone's target right now.
Oh, this is great. I mean, for Gen G, not good for AGAL, but Gen G needs to get off to a good start here, I think, to build that confidence for this event, to be that team that we all know that they have the potential to be. A nice headshot there with the Mutant, with the iron sight from Salute. After a nice spin out, really well orchestrated there. They do a little bit of punishing onto AGAL, and then they're going to retreat back towards Milto.
And this is a very aggressive move coming out from Gen G, who are playing down next to Milto. They pushed all the way up next to like tunnels and everything else like that, and just to secure one. And AGAL, who was needing to get something rolling on the day, this is a terrible start.
I don't know what else to say. You're right. I mean,
Himas down first is painful.
No, dude, this is exactly what I was talking about, right? Like, they're losing players in the early parts of the games. They're not being as, coordinated, disciplined as they need to be. And maybe other teams are just seeing things that are sloppy in terms of their early game drops and how they're getting vehicles and where they're going after that. And Gen G just, said, hey, sometimes a coach will go in and they'll be like, hey, I think we can punish this team here because on this plane path, they're going to go for this vehicle. And that means they're going to not be able to get access to a gun quickly enough, and another other team might be around them.
And I love the fact that Gen G is coming in with confidence in game one. Another team coming in with confidence is going to be Full Sense with a Full Sense right on top of Sharper. Thunder's trying to defend one side. Thunderwatt's taking a lot of damage. He's going to go down. Belmont's going to be the one that found him. And this is just going to quickly go Full Sense sided unless Thunders can get something to happen. He steps around, and he's going to go down too.
It's a great little punish here for Full Sense. You can see VP hovering off screen just a little bit, looking for an opportunity to maybe pick off a player, but because that was clean for Full Sense, they don't lose any players. I don't expect VP to really commit to this. I think they're just going to look and see if maybe they can find a punish. You can see the SKS in hand for Beamy at range, looking around for a potential target. He might be offered up an opportunity, not just yet. They're able to move the car around the corner, should be safe.
I don't necessarily fault VP for going for this one, but Full Sense having a pretty decent day yesterday, walking away with 24 points. They're going to need to step up that points per game to be a lot more comfortable for qualifications, because remember, there is no survival stage. There is nothing else other than the points that you get through groups. So it is the top 16 that go on. Doesn't matter what group it's in. Doesn't matter how it's all come together. You just got to get points where you can find them. Full Sense on 24, you got to feel like that was a little bit more hazardous, but Lucarux does find out Belmont in the open. That was 2 free on the other side of the wall. You got to take that.
Oh, this was well thought out by VP, able to catch Full Sense and trying to position their cars into safer spots, and little do they know they weren't safe at all. So it's the hit and run for Virtus Pro. They will take their point and leave. Of course, as Full Sense, there could be an opportunity, who knows, to maybe get a revive in there somewhere, but they're quite far away. Meanwhile, the Supers having themselves, a 2-1-1 split. Essentially, they're going to leave a player up on the mountain, but there is a bunch of JDG up there. They're trying to get some scouting information, I believe, from Rex, who can be great in those 1vx scenarios, but you might not realize what he's going into up there.
I mean, Everest does give you a lot of control, so it's got enough space to where you can have a couple of teams kind of jockeyed up against each other, but look at the nades already prepped. Are they going to go a bit too far? Yeah, Rex going to be playing closer in position. He is very vulnerable up here. The more these nades pop off, the more problems going to start mounting. And even if he has to try to get out of this now, shots going to be coming out from JD Gaming, but on the lower section, Petrichor Road is already moving and might be able to cut off his escape.
Oh boy, he is lucky to get away there. Rex really nifty driving, had to go in reverse down that hill too. That is not easy at all. JDG had a moment, they did the damage, but they weren't able to take the point.
Quick update, we did see that Anyone's Legend managed to get Hamas back in. They went ahead, rezzed him. He's coming in on the helicopter in just 1 second. So regroup, get him some guns, maybe find some more points for that squad. Rotators right now are going to be, of course, AGAL. It's going to be right up next to Rozhok coming in. Falcons coming into the circle very slow. No rush at all. Pretty much the furthest squad out from this, as well as Gen G and VC just now touching the circle.
Yeah, it seems to be a lot more the MO for Falcons these days. They're happy to drop on the extremities. Talking to Gunnar a little bit about it. Part of it is just that way they don't have to mess with the hot drops at the global events as much. Like, they have a little more freedom. They learn how to play. If you're a good edge team, if you're an aggressive edge team, which we know they can be, they can take some points in the kill department, easy peasy. T1 does have a wide split Vitality in front of them. Levante all on his own inside of that observatory, just over the other side of the hill. Quizzy down the road from him, but right now it doesn't seem like P1 too keen to get aggressive. Can be a little tricky. There's a little bit of flat open space between you and this compound that he's in. For now, T1 just going to be chilling, taking their little ridge side. Pretty defendable there, as you can see. Have a lot of opportunities to kind of find some ways to hide, and as long as your back is clear, the top of that hill is safe.
Depending on how the circles go, Vitality is a great spot to pick up a couple more kills. Already prepping for the new circle pop that'll happen in about 30 seconds or so. It looks like JDG is doing emergency pickup, but I think that might be a bit too fast. So I think that we'll have to see how the timing on it works. No, I take it back. Timing for it should be just about right. So JDG can do an emergency pickup out of the top of Everest to kind of go wherever they need. And given how flat the circle is with the amount of fields in, no surprise. Late rotators and Falcons, like you were talking about, are going to be coming into this one perfectly timed. As the center meta is staying very strong. Most of our squads playing around there. It's just a little bit of external skirmishing going on as we stay near Everest and the fields.
And now you have some decisions to make, as some of those teams in the center, like 17 Gaming, do you kind of coalesce into a 4-man, or you try to maintain your split that you have going in the dead center of that circle, maybe a 2-2, as I expect like the Supers to stick with. Petrichor Road is a similar idea. So a lot of teams trying to just maintain their hold on what they've taken. That's going to send Falcons a little bit up to the north, but here's a crash.
Right up on top of everybody. Full Sense has one down, and it is a quick mass from T1. They wanted that, and they took it. Denadol's just running for his life on the outside of his nades raining down upon him. He is trapped, and Full Sense is out early.
Nice crash here from T1. They find the weakened Full Sense and eliminate them very quickly. And don't take too much damage. EN there. Nice grenades, nice shooting, along with raining to clear out that chopstick. And oh my goodness.
Oh, VP had monitor on this for a while, so with the change up in positionings, it's going to be Tyloo that came forward. VP playing the other side, just a couple of buildings between, though. It does look like it's a little bit more complicated to work around on the inside of this, as Tyloo pretty trapped. VP has so many external angles that they've got this under control with.
Yeah, this has been really well orchestrated so far by VP. Haven't taken any damage, substantial damage, I should say. A grenade at that door, just in case they were trying to make their approach, but Kong Kong going to be backing off here just a little bit, trying to find a new angle, a new position. Just going to be holding the line. Has a teammate above him, but if they clear him out, you wouldn't be too surprised to see VP really try to take Tyloo out of this one.
I believe that we saw Lee playing in a glider earlier, so he's going to be external from this now, having just touched the ground. He could move into a backstab position onto VP, but it's hard to get over there. Mostly it's going to be Vicious taking a couple of shots as Luke Ruggs got himself the bullet hose and ready for anybody to peek around, but it's going to be a nade coming out, getting the knock onto Luke Ruggs.
Yeah, that might buy enough time here for that backstab to come through. Another big grenade there. Really scary stuff for Virtus Pro. Trying to find an angle in. Hausker, you can set up a smoke. Trying to aggress on that angle. No, they're just going to try to cut this off.
Oh, but VC is coming back behind this one. That might be a big problem for Lee if he doesn't make sure that he monitors that. I think he spotted it, but this backstab now having a big problem. That means that the two players for Tyloo have to deal with VP in a much closer range threat. No form of assistance from the outside, and VC looks like they're going to set up. Maybe they start taking a couple of shots, but no, it is going to be Nixie that gets Kong Kong down.
Now Virtus Pro should really try to remove Tyloo from the equation right now. Hausker is taking a ton of damage from Util. In fact, going to be knocked by that blue zone grenade. Meanwhile, VC out in the open. Tycon looking to get ahead out there. Lee has dodged VC for now. He's able to kind of scoot off towards the east and avoid any contact with them. Lukarot's able to find a big knock on the Duckmai, and that means that they are going to have to kind of take a step back and wait this out.
I mean, this was just so cleanly played coming up from VP. They saw the vehicles rotate. They were already using the external walls for defense. Get themselves back into a good position. This location now firmly on lockdown. VC doesn't feel safe making an approach anymore. They're going to hop in their vehicles. They're going to rotate away, and poor old Lee is just kind of trapped over here now.
Lee is a lot of tough decisions to make, and now you're in kind of salvage mode. Are you going to be able to get anything
on all the signs of it. Nixie, though, getting a ton of information on this movement.
Yeah, he has taken quite a bit of damage, but you're exactly right. That information led to Corexi being able to coordinate with the frags, get that first big knock onto AGAL. The fight can continue. Look who's showing up behind this, though. Lee might have something to say about this, but more players dropping for AGAL. BB getting 2.
Now it is just down to Moss. The guy that went down early does manage to get Delwyn back up, but where do you even go? It feels like every single window when he goes for peaks, there's nades rolling in on top of him. He's got to be so cautious. Smokes everywhere. Visibility near on naught. He's just going to start holding the stairwell as Delwyn's going to go down, and he's back by himself.
My eyes just look to Lee. He's just going to use this opportunity to just try to sneak by this fight. But Hamas with a pump shotgun, very concerning. As VP, you got to be worried that you might overcommit to this fight. You've already taken 3 down. Look at Lee. Is he going to steal it? Okay, I thought for a second he might steal the BRDM.
I like this from VP. They want to get timing on the circle. They did the damage. Hamas just going to be up by himself. They know that. Lee's just going to go right up in front of him, maybe eat a couple of bullets for him. VP, though, maybe looking to finish out what they start a little while, as Nade's going to be prepped up from Lee. What are you going to do against that BRDM? 17 now taking shots at both these roaming targets. It is going to be Vitality that has the center of the circle, while back behind all this, Hamas has spotted up Vicious making a rotate.
Petrichor Road trying to hold the line between a couple different teams. The Falcons looking up and over this hill very, very shortly. Chewy throws the molly to try to get something done, but it is Shremzy with the AUG who pops up and takes Chewy down.
Yeah, Petrichor Road, JDG, Falcons all having to move away from different angles. Specifically to the west, it's going to be Supers right in the center of the circle. Vitality has vision on what's going on over here. So Falcons, while they've got the high ground for now, know that they've got a lot of threats very, very close. Wouldn't be surprised if they just try to sweep this one out, see if they can finish off Petrichor Road, maybe Nons as well.
Oh, there you go. Yep. No problem at all for Kick. Gets the grenade right where it needs to be. Still have JDG up on the edge of this hill that has to be dealt with. Should be pretty doable for the Falcons, you would think, but Tiggleton getting lit up by a bunch of different teams. I mean, there are 4 different teams shooting at him.
Oh, Nons! Big play comes up at the end and ruins Falcons' day. Tig now down, getting flushed out. It is everybody in the lobby. 17 Vitality, as well as VP, all just trying to decimate Falcons.
Oh, that was a push that had to happen for the Falcons. They had to go for kills. We'll see. Kickstart's going to be able to hang on, get a little bit further, get some more points into this one. Supers now as well need to be making a move as 17 south of the circle, looking to try to sneak in behind Virtus Pro and Vitality. Supers, I don't know how much they're going to have to work with here. They should still have some vehicles, you would think. They've been hanging out of that compound for quite some time.
I don't know if vehicles matter in this circle because it is really flat. Hay bales. I mean, there's that little bit of a ridge that we saw Falcons trying to play, but you just saw what happened whenever Falcons tried to move over there. If Supers tries to wrap down to the south, they're just going to bump into 17, who still needs to get in the circle. So right now it's VP, Vitality, EU, complete control over the circle. While we've got T1, I mean, 17 having to move a little bit, but 17 at least knows where the threats around them are.
Yeah, I mean, as Supers, you're trying to go somewhere on that northern edge. I mean, you're going to have great vision into this circle at the very least, and you can kind of piece out what hay bales are still going to be there, what little dips and things like that you can just kind of hang on to, where you can start digging your trenches with the picks if you can find those open opportunities. And you're looking for a timing here while 17 is trying to make their way in. Here we go, the big wrap.
Where are you going to go? If they go to the north, they're going to have a lot of firing lines thrown at them. VP is a bit more focused on 17 right now, so there's some movement to happen over here. They're just barely getting inside the circle. The smidgen of a ridge going to be enough. You can see bullets already cascading down on top of them, but now T1 has a denied angle of approach. If they crest the top of that hill, it's going to be Supers that absolutely demolish them. While Supers, you're in the circle, but there is so little vision to be had, and T1 going to be walking right into their waiting arms as there's just nowhere to really go.
I haven't seen Vitality looking in this direction at all. I think if T1 kept going directly east, they might actually be able to catch Vitality a little bit off guard. I mean, they're so dialed in on what's happening with 17 Gaming and Virtus Pro, but here you're just trying to play chicken with the other teams. You're trying to outweight them make the first move so you can come in to the party last.
Boy, we go on old school PUBG right now, using these like bush lines that are set up inside the fields to try to creep through. Full stealth coming up right now for T1. Rex has actually gone over and gotten the crate, so that's going to give them another foothold position to play, as now 17 Gaming has to figure out where do they go. They've got a trench that's kind of dug themselves. It's enough for some safety for now, but Supers does spot stealthy T1, so stealth fails in the end as bullets just rain down upon him.
Oh man, and Rex has a Lynx. He's putting it to good use against Virtus Pro. He's going to find the big knock onto Lucarux, looking for Nixie, doesn't get him, and gets taken down by Hello My Bad.
That shield coming up just in time, as well as providing enough safety. T1 in a ton of trouble. Vitality, who's been playing the center point for so long, has just got turreting position. They just got to spin on every single angle. Looks like 17's trying to get closer and closer, see if they can maybe aggress onto the Vitality defensive line. Circle pops, and it goes down to the south. That means that Super is getting control over that crate. At least is going to get them close to the circle.
Yeah, and now Vitality has to try to deny 17 some kind of entry. They've been trenching their way a little bit further forward so they can get into grenade range and try to displace them, and they're already landing some good ones. Quizzy down.
Winbow manages to drop it. Here comes another follow-up. Looks like the Molotov's going to be just a smidge too short. Levante's just got way too many targets in front of him, and the smoke line for 17's a bit further out. Looks like maybe they were trying to prep it out for a run, but instead it's just going to be nades landing down onto that spot, opening up more cover for 17 to work with if they wanted it.
Yeah, this is pretty well thought out here by 17. They've been able to keep themselves very much alive. The Super's still trying to get Rex back onto his feet. I think they just are able to get there, but they're taking a lot of damage along the way because everybody else has been able to dig in, find spots inside of the circle, or create some safety of their own. And that has made it very, very difficult for them, still being on the outside looking in. Another crate going to be dropping in just ahead of them. I mean, it's a little bit of extra cover. You'll take anything you can get as the Supers. You can see there's a couple Doritos up there even for them to work with. But again, like you've been talking about, it's not much, man.
It's just flat dips, whatever you've dug into. And Vitality's been here for a long time. As you can see, this is why I was thinking they were starting shooting as much as they were, because it's just too many targets around them. And they're, again, another knock, more meds, more armor being burned. I'm worried about the attrition and really how long Vitality's been here and how long they can keep up the defense, specifically against Supers, who just keeps finding crates galore and manages to find ways to fight their way in.
Yeah, it's been rough sledding their armor and other things, but a good grenade from Guman. Find Nixie. Is he going to be able to get the flush off the back of it? No. The follow-up grenade not quite where it needed to be. Lucarux, in the meantime, gets back up to that first aid level of health and looking to maybe res Nixie if possible.
We're in a bit of a paper, rock, scissors style moment right now where we've got VP eyes on the Supers. They can't move too much because they're in nade range from the Supers. No real capabilities for movement as we're just in a very flat section. So if you got any way to dig, you can see that that is just the only moment of reprieve that you get. 17 all stacked together. Little Ghost going to be down back behind him as it is going to be Nixie just lighting up. Supers gets 2 knocks, but Vitality can't get any control angles on it as Hell My Bad's trying to creep over there. Just nothing being revealed for him, though.
Yeah, the fact that the Supers couldn't follow up onto that knock on a Nixie quickly enough has caused them to hemorrhage a couple players. Nixie will be knocked again, but still, it's going to be VP hanging on quite nicely. And now Hello My Bad trying to finish the Supers off. Cannot do so. Heaven going to be able to stay behind the safety of some of these crates and other things that have, again, just barely given Supers enough entry into the previous circle, but they have further to go to get into Circle 8.
I mean, Vitality's just barely in the circle. They've got no smokes from what I've seen left. Just a couple of bullets to work with. 17's going to be pushing from the south. You have to assume it's going to be on the Vitality line. Do they have enough tools to work with? I mean, Vitality really wanted to deal with Supers, but they couldn't. VP is just comfy, cozy over there into the east by comparison. They've got a good double up with eyes onto Supers. They've got Beamy with pretty much center control going on right now, and Corexy that's just supervising what's going on between 17 and Vitality.
Yeah, and you can see Xiao Wu is on sapper duty here, trying to dig his way forward for Steve. What in the world, Rex? Just found a huge grenade. That was that dip that Lucarux and Nixie were sitting in, and all of a sudden the Supers may have just bought themselves an extra life in this game.
But look at the path that they have to walk through. There is nothing in front of them. Not even any shrubberies to use. It's just going to be full run and gun. If they lean Vitality side, there's not a lot really going on over there, so maybe they can find some way to just push their way in. Rex down to just one more shot, but he's got eyes on to VP. VP just trying to cling to life over here to see if they can get the shots onto it. Correctly, he's got himself a good angle, but Xiao Wu finds Hello My Bad. That's the northern part of what's going on with Vitality. Is that going to be the go signal for the push? And yes, it is.
All right, here we go. 17 throwing those stuns out early. Wenbo able to take Levante down. Another one goes in. It's Beamy helping out. 17 gaming just a little bit here, but Quincy springs into action. Tian Can't quite find the finish just yet. Looking for that final ball. Is he going to get it?
Oh, somehow Vitality survives with the assistance on the outside from VP and Supers. Now it's VP full focused, 15 kills. These guys are fragging out on this lobby. Super's got nowhere to go. The Dorito, not enough cover.
Yeah, and that's a huge knock because the timing here getting very dire for the Supers. The blue is just onto Heaven's back, and he's going to be taken down there. Yeah, can't get any further forward. They go down in third.
How many more kills can we see VP get, as it is Beamy just charging to the center of the circle, using the cover that he's got set up over there, peeking back on over into a very weakened Vitality, backs up against the blue zone, and not much that they can really do to walk out as they manage to find a smoke. But can they even find the angle that they need to take down Beamy?
Beamy still one more stun, and that's a big kill on the Levante.
Just keep chaining them together. This is just brutal. Creeping forward, there is nowhere to go, and that is going to be VP with a big win.
That's exactly what the doctor ordered. A team that started out looking pretty good yesterday and couldn't quite keep it together as the day went through, and they come out swinging. Love the early aggression that we saw from the beginning to the end of that game. VP was taking fight after fight and winning them so cleanly, so well. And that's what allowed them to get into that late stage, have 4 players up, have their spot dug into that circle already, and they're able to hold the line.
What did they end at? 16 kills? Something like that? Idea going for you right now is that VP, where we were talking about a bit underperforming from our expectations with them yesterday, they got 35 points on the day. They just got 26 in one game. That's the VP I was expecting.
They just sent themselves to the grand finals. I mean, I think that's basically guaranteed now.
This is just a ridiculously good performance, and kudos